Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, we're going to be getting into a Bitcoin technical analysis. We're also going to be taking a look at some of our favorite altcoins, Chainlink and Ethereum. I want to share with you my thoughts on the lower time frames, the higher time frames, go through the general momentum behind the price action to see where we could be potentially headed from here and pick out some very nice trading opportunities. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. I want to start off here on the 12-hour time frame very quickly. We can actually see some bullish divergences building here on the RSI. That is going to only be confirmed if we can confirm this as a local low. We've bounced on our S3 support as well, so we'll come back to this bullish divergence here and speak about it a little bit later on and how we can confirm that as a bullish divergence, right? Because it is not confirmed just yet. But taking a look at the 1 hour time frame here, we did come down to that massive support region that we spoke about, the S3 support. Now, this was in confluence with our lows here from the 24th of May, so it gave us a very nice area to be watching. Not only did we have the weekly S3 here, which we know that the S3s are typically not going to break on the first go. I always talk about these, and this is because of the fact that obviously we have profit takers coming into the market here, you have counter traders coming into the market, and generally it is a trappy area for those getting into short positions very, very late. And if we go into the 15-minute time frame here and put on our historical pivots, we would see that the S3, as you can see right here, was perfectly where we bounced yesterday. So we had the weekly S3, we had the daily S3, and we of course had our monthly S1, which we've been talking about since basically in these regions, right? The monthly pivot above us and the S1. So we've actually had quite a nice bounce from this region. If you go ahead and take a look at this, we did, let me remove the historical pivots here so you can actually see this much better. We actually came down here, took out these lows. There was a lot of liquidity here, so anyone with their stop losses, for example, here would have gotten stopped out, and we did end up bouncing up from our area of interest from the region that we were looking for long positions, about 9%. Now, this bounce is, of course, going to be a very quick bounce, and we want to be able to take profits on that, at least a take profit one very quickly, because we did come up to the next resistance at the S2 here. We did go past it a little bit, but ultimately we've lost that once again. But the region that actually matters to me right now is going to be this S1 here. It is also the candle bodies here on the 1-day time frame, and as you guys know, I care more about candle bodies even when I'm looking at market structure. So right here I'm looking at a lower low on as far as a candle body goes, and these candle bodies here, nice little base that we built before moving up here to $40,000, then again from 34,000 to near 40,000, and now we've finally broken it. So that actually lines up with the S1. We know that that is important to get above, because if we can get above the S1, then we can start to target moves all the way up to the weekly pivot at $36,469. So the S1 sits perfectly at $34,459. I wouldn't get too excited until we can actually reclaim these levels, and then if we are to reclaim this horizontal resistance level, I would be looking at a further move up inside of the range. We know that we have our bearish order block, which is very important to us here, which once we got rejected, we were looking for short positions at. That was all the way up here, the EQ at 37,800. So that's already an 18% move, but we did expect a move lower inside of the range. But remember what I spoke about yesterday. There is absolutely no reason to look or to be, trading shorts down here when we're reaching the bottom of the range. You look more so for those long positions as we are inside of a range. And we've already spoken about the fact that we have declining volume from left to right, which we didn't even get much volume, at least yesterday. So we haven't seen, a break of the range as far as the volume goes. We've looked at the volatility index here as well. We got a lot of green on the volatility index, giving us some nice bounces to the upside from, 30,000 all the way up to 40,000. However, if we're looking at the overall kind of picture here on the daily time frame, it would suggest a break until it wouldn't suggest a breakout until, or a trending move, a big trending move based on a daily time frame until the start of July. So we've entertained this idea. Doesn't mean it will have to play out like this, but since it hasn't confirmed just yet, so we haven't seen volume confirmation, volatility confirmation, and also open interest is more or less ranging right now, looking like more so ranging price action, I would still be sticking by that. Now, if we do start to lose these lows here at around 29,750, then we could be looking for either a swing in these lows and a move up, or obviously further down to those high time frame support levels I've spoken about in previous videos. So that would be very important, since this is the January lows inside of our range, since we've found acceptance back into it, and the highs right here, we've come to the lows and we've gone to the highs of our January range. So now we need to be trading that as is, right? And this was a very, very nice little bounce, but tonight's session is going to be very important because we need to confirm this 12-hour bullish divergence by setting in basically a confirmed local low here. Now, we already have kind of a hammer candle, 2 consecutive hammer candles basically coming back to back here, and that's actually showing us that at least we have some buying pressure coming in here, with the momentum looking like this as well. If we were to confirm this as a hammer candle by closing back above it, for example, above the wick high on a 12-hour closing basis, or even above that S1 we spoke about, that would be a lot more, that would give me a lot more confidence to actually look for a move higher inside the range, because then we would have a confirmed bullish divergence on the 12-hour time frame, and that would bring us, I believe, in my personal opinion, potentially all the way up to this 55 exponential moving average on the 12-hour time frame, which would be in confluence with the R2 as well at $39,805. Remember, this is a high time frame, so we're going to have to stay very patient for this one, or at least a medium time frame. But I do like it because if we go into some of our lower time frames as well, here we did see the 4-hour, for example, very, very beat down. We saw 2 pivots being hit on the RSI here, as signified by the blue, and from then we did kind of see that buy pressure come in on those 2 candles we just looked at on the 12-hour as well. So you're seeing some buy pressure come in, but we need to reclaim resistance. Even if we're looking at the exponential moving averages on the lower time frames, or at least on some hourlies, such as a 4-hour, we are below the lowest period exponential moving average, the 21 EMA, the orange moving average that you see here, or EMA that you see here. And that is important, right? Because it shows us that at least in the short term, we still have sell pressure coming in, or at least in the short term, the EMAs are tailored to the downside, a little bit more of a bearish outlook on the EMAs. However, once we start to reclaim those, then we start to kind of set in those medium time frame bullish divergences for a move higher up inside of the range. Now, if we are to break these lows by the time I upload this video on the 24th of May, well, that would be I believe, in my personal opinion, a very easy move down to the range lows. Then the game will be on from there. Do we get volume confirmation upon a break off the range lows, or do we simply swing these lows similar to what we did yesterday to these lows here on the 24th of May and have a bounce to the upside? That would be very tradable. Remember this bounce here. If you did buy the regions we were interested in here, 9% to the upside. Of course, not financial advice. This is just the way I look at the market here, and that is how I'm looking at it right now. I want to see a regain of some lower period exponential moving averages. I don't want to see a break off the S3. If we do see that, well, I'm going to be trading it in that direction, and we're going to be trying to get in on the lower time frames to have the best entry. Okay, so the lower time frames right now are not really giving us much, at least right here. So we're on the 15-minute because we are kind of ranging between the pivot, the daily pivot. So we're going to have to definitely stay patient here. But if we go ahead and pull a Fibonacci retracement from the highs to the lows, we did retrace up to that 0.5, offering up a nice kind of scalp opportunity. And as far as the lower time frames go, we need to get back above the R1 here as well. If we start to lose these lows, that is completely fine as well, though, because obviously we already picked one trade from this region. Now we could be looking for that next region. Now the S3 in today's session does line up with those range lows, I believe, which is very nice to see once again. So the S3 right here lining up with the range lows from the 28th of May. That's still a trade that I'm interested in. So that's basically what I'm looking at. Not much else new for me, guys. I've been saying the same thing to you for a week with my resistance points, my support regions that I want to see broken with volume and with just confirmation coming into the market. So that's what I would be looking at still as far as a high time frame goes for some swing trading opportunities. However, right now, this range has been very profitable if you are trading the lower time frames, and I would be doing that until the range is broken, and then you can get in on that momentum as well. So let's move on to LinkUSD and take a look at some of these high time frames. So LinkUSD, we said that it looks more or less a little bit more bearish than Ethereum and Bitcoin over the last few days, and it was because we hadn't actually reached this top resistance. We actually got a rejection from the anchored VWAP, which is obviously a bearish setup. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rejections from here. You can count this as not a rejection. You know, a break above and a close back below is still the same thing. You're looking for short positions at that level. So that's a 28% move down. And then the same thing here, the monthly pivot needs to be reclaimed. However, since that was not reclaimed, we had a rising kind of channel here showing us a bear flag on this is on the very low time frames, but it's still on our chart here. We did get a move down, and we've come down to our first area of interest here, which is the 30th of May lows, but our big area of interest would be that S1, and I'm definitely going to still be watching that one. We know that we have a high time frame bullish order block, and I want to discuss this for the altcoins. I want you guys to keep this in mind. We've bounced from a very critical bullish order block on Chainlink, and we had quite a nice bounce, right? But with these big levels, sometimes if we are seeing an accumulation range going on here, and this isn't going to be, you know, further distribution to the downside, which right now, that's way too early to say. And also, since the trend is down, you know, trend is your friend until the end. However, if we come down here, that still is a trading opportunity for me, because if we were to take these lows, hit the EQ, that's an area that I potentially want to ladder into, or even have alerts here to actually take that trade. So coming all the way down to the order block, remember that's all the way down at $13.28. It starts at $15 down to $13.28. So that's a big area that institutions are looking to buy, that big players are looking to fill their orders, and that's exactly what we saw, about 137% bounce from that bullish order block. Really within the 1, 2, 3, 4, within 5 days basically, or 4 days, we saw that bounce. Now coming back down, that is very expected, guys, because of the fact that we had a big move. So more ranging action, consolidation is very, very good for price action. Now, of course, like we have said, it did look a little bit more bearish, and it is looking more bearish than the other altcoins. But coming down to the bottom of the range, just like we spoke about for Bitcoin yesterday, I'm interested in long trades until it is broken. And of course, short trades from the top of the range, longs from the bottom of the range. Okay, whether that is the S1 or here, we need to see the reaction and we need to be able to trade it accordingly. So our stochastic did get a rejection from the bearish control territory as well, near resistance. That's a good sign. We do have a support region that we're coming back down to right now. So I'd actually expect a reaction at this stochastic support. Not expected, but be looking for it definitely. So if we do come down there, that's right at the critical zone. I'd be interested to see if the stochastic does turn up. Now, if we are on the bullish order block support, for example, we get a nice bounce to the upside with the stochastic bouncing up and moving into the neutral territory. That could be a nice start to another long trade higher inside of the range. And of course, if we are to find acceptance back into our old range, well, that tells us that we can start to trade this old range and all of its levels, because as you can see, it was very well respected here, and we hit the bottom basically twice, and then also the highs as well. Now, I do want to quickly draw this channel and actually quickly look at it. So this is the channel that we were also trading. As you can see, this one was very, very well respected. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, multiple hits at the bottom. We did slightly break it, but acceptance back in, that is your bullish setup. So so as you can see here, price action is actually ranging in it. And this is why you want to keep your old channels on your chart. We've actually come down to the lower side of the channel here. These two candle bodies closed back inside of the channel. So that's, yeah, if we do start to see weakness, I would say that that's really going to be had once we start to get candle body closures back below the S1, back below this old channel. And that would be not so good in the short term. So definitely be watching that one as well. Let's go on to Ethereum USD on the Coinbase chart. We've come up to the monthly pivot, to the anchored VWAP from the highs. We lost our short-term support, and this was the first time we actually lost our short-term support, because we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive days when we were above it. Once we lose it on the first candle body closure below this level, that is already a 12% dip to the downside. And we got a retest. So what happens to broken support? It often becomes resistance. You can look for a low risk shorting opportunity with your stop loss right above that resistance point, or using another piece of confluence, for example, and a nice move. Now, I didn't actually expect this one to stop right here. So I was expecting it to come to at least the 30th of May lows to give me a little bit of a bounce opportunity. We definitely got front ran on that one. Now coming back down there, I'm still going to be watching it, but the big area here is the S1. Now, Ethereum has held up better than the rest at the moment. Actually, if we do stop here, that's another higher low inside of the range, so that would be good for Ethereum, and it's definitely showing power if that is the case. However, we still have our stochastic getting a rejection from the bullish control territory. Now coming back down a little bit, actually testing the neutral territory right now. So this is going to be interesting to see if we can bounce up. But right now, if price action is to continue this lower time frame downtrend that we have, and even higher time frame downtrend, then it is likely we test lower inside the range, just like Bitcoin. But right now, since Bitcoin is right at the bottom of its range, if Bitcoin is to get a bounce, then Ethereum is most likely not going to come down further, of course. So it's a very interesting time, definitely, over these next 24 hours for these confirmations to start playing out. Now, we can see right here, two important areas inside of the range. This is our candle body. We don't want candle body closures below here because that would be breaking this kind of high-low. And, of course, I'm just talking about inside the range because if we actually zoom out, we do have lower lows and lower highs being set in. But I wouldn't want to see closures below these two candle bodies here at $2,095 and $2,275. Then I believe we will have some more pressure. But even for Ethereum, we're still seeing more or less ranging action here. We did try to get a little bit of a break yesterday, but that is also the bullish volume coming in as well for this little bit of a bounce that we got. So as for Ethereum, if we do come lower inside of the range, get candle body closures below here, and I would be expecting this S1 just like we did expected for Bitcoin. It did play out quite nicely. Now the VIX does suggest the same thing for Ethereum, more ranging action. This one would suggest a breakout really anytime until the mid-June basically. So mid-June, that would be an interesting time for Ethereum. So I'm just going to look at the high time frames for these altcoins here for you guys today. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter update from me. I've uploaded a Discord video for you guys this morning as well, so go ahead and check that out. And yeah, so they're my thoughts on Bitcoin. Remember, never financial advice. These are just my thoughts and kind of the way I trade the market. Have a lovely rest of your day, guys, and I will catch you in tomorrow's video.